What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/EntitledParents. This story's called, Entitled Aunt Freaks Out When I Get a Purple Cast for My Broken Arm. I'm back, y'all. Sorry if there's any errors. I'm typing this story with some hella long fake nails on, so, bear with me. Anyways, I have a bit of free time, so I figured I'd tell you lovely people another story about my entitled aunt. Spoiler, she's a bitch in this one too. Now, on to the story. I broke my arm when I was around 10. Myself and a group of friends had been playing at the swing park and I fell off climbing the frame. The first thing I felt was an immense pain in my arm. It was so bad that I actually felt sick from the pain. My friends, understandably, freaked out and ran off in search of an adult, whilst a couple of them stayed with me in case my arm fell off whilst they were gone. This is a terrifying situation when you're 10. Eventually, my friends came back with one of their dads. He quickly checked my arm over and was around 80% sure that it was broken. He offered to drive me home and would tell me jokes in an attempt to cheer me up. He succeeded in making my friend cringe at his dad jokes, and I felt myself relax a little. I was still in immense pain, but I wasn't worried about my arm falling off anymore. Eventually, we got to my house and my friend's dad explained to my mom what happened. He's such a great guy, he even offered to take my mom and I to the hospital. My mom politely declined because the guy had to go to his work and she didn't want him getting into trouble. Once he'd left, my mom asked me all the usual worried parent questions. What happened? Where does it hurt? Do you feel sick? Etc. She then called my nice aunt to see if she could drop us off at the hospital. She was working though, and even though she told my mom she was leaving work ASAP, she would still take about an hour and a half to get to our house because of how far away her work was. That left only one option: entitled aunt. Brilliant. Surprisingly, she did actually seem somewhat worried when my mom told her what happened, and she got to our house within 15 minutes. Entitled cousin was staying with her dad overnight, so she didn't come with us. Hell, she even brought me sweets to cheer me up. It honestly felt like I was in an episode of The Twilight Zone. Everything is going about as well as it could with my arm in a massive amount of pain. We get to the hospital, give the hospital all the required information, and head to the waiting room for what we expected to be a very long wait. The hospital is hella busy. My mom takes me towards the children's waiting area so I could play with the toys whilst I waited. Entitled aunt following behind. I settled for playing with one of my plastic trucks so that I didn't have to move my broken arm. Everything was fine until a little girl, around 6, 7-ish, asked me if I wanted to play kitchens with her, which I immediately said yes to. She set out some plastic cups for a tea party and we played quite happily. Until entitled aunt decides to intervene like the interfering bench that she is. What are you doing, sweetheart? Playing kitchens with Sarah? I don't know, just figured she needed a name. I thought you were playing with trucks. Why don't you go get one of them? They're so cool. But me and Sarah are playing. OP, little boys don't play kitchens. That's for little girls. But Uncle, my mom's brother, is a cook and he's a boy, but he's a homophobic slur. You don't want to be one of those, do you? Entitled aunt, he's playing with that little girl. Leave him alone. You really don't think it's weird? My mom, getting pretty impatient. No, I don't. Now either leave the little ones alone or you can head home. Entitled aunt rolled her eyes at the pet name. My mom, even now, likes using pet names for me. She has a lot of anxiety around making sure that I know she loves me and cares about me. But my aunt went back to my mom and sat down. Sarah and I talked and played for a bit. She asked me about my arm and I told her what happened. I found out through our talks that she had gotten her ears pierced, but the company hadn't cleaned the equipment properly, which led to her right ear getting infected, despite her mother cleaning it thoroughly every day. She went on to tell me that she was going to get the earring taken out, and once she felt better, her mom would take her to get her ear re-pierced at a different establishment. Despite the hassle that she was going through at that point in time, Sarah was pretty proud of her ear piercings, which in turn made me think about getting my own ears pierced. I had run over to my mom to ask about maybe getting my own ears pierced with the money that I had saved up. I got pocket money for helping around the house and always liked to save it for things that I really wanted or for my mom's birthday and Christmas presents. Entitled aunt scoffed and made faces of disgust. As my mom would say, she looked like a dog chewing a wasp, but she didn't vocalize any of her concerns. After about an hour, I was called up to get x-rayed. I said my goodbyes to Sarah and headed to the x-ray room with my mom. I'ma skip all the boring stuff. Basically, I got my arm x-rayed. It was definitely broken, and we were taken to a little room. There were about 4 beds in the room, each with a curtain for privacy, where we were to wait for one of the nurses to arrive and sort out a cast for my arm. Entitled Aunt had been allowed to join us at this point, as the hospital only allowed one adult to accompany the child to the x-ray room. Never really understood why. She was still pretty pissy about my mom getting impatient with her earlier, so obviously, she dropped the nice demeanor and pet names and went back to being her typical benchy self. And not bishy in a good way. She kept her mouth shut for the most part until the nurse decided to ask the question. The question that would make Entitled Aunt lose her crap.
What color of cast would you like, sweetie? He likes blue. It's the same color as his top. Is the blue one okay for you?
She asked me with a look that tells me, you don't have to go with the color that this psycho wants. I like the purple one. Entitled Aunt just glares at me.
Okay, honey, a purple cast it is. What? You're actually gonna give him a purple cast? Well, that's what he wants. Entitled Aunt, give it a rest. It's a damn color. So it's purple. Little boys wear blue, not purple. It's not you that has to wear it. Stop being a damn drama queen. You're loving this, aren't you? You want him to be gay. You're actually encouraging this kind of behavior.
Mom, looking like she wants to throw hands.
I want my child to be happy. If a purple cast is going to make him happy, then he's getting the purple cast. Little boy shouldn't be wearing purple. He's getting the blue one. It's almost the same as purple anyway.
But if blue's the same as purple, can't I just have purple?
Are you a girl?
No, but I like purple.
OP isn't your kid, and I'm not having you make him feel like crap for liking a certain color.
At this point, the nurse is trying to defuse the situation, and I can only look on in shock. They argued for a couple of minutes more until the nurse managed to get a hold of a doctor and another nurse, who quickly asked Entitled Aunt to leave the premises. She did, but not without getting the last word in by shouting,
"You're a terrible mother, wanting your son to be a
homophobic slur." My mom proceeded to apologize to the doctor and nurses for stooping to Entitled Aunt's level. They told her it wasn't an issue and that Entitled Aunt was out of order with her language. Entitled Aunt had naturally driven off and left us at the hospital for another half hour until Nice Aunt came to pick us up. She had stopped off at KFC, my favorite fast food place as a kid, to get us something to eat and had gotten me a teddy bear at a toy shop in town. It was bright purple. Nice Aunt was quick to post a picture of the 3 of us and the new teddy bear on Facebook, knowing full well that Entitled Aunt would see it, just to piss her off a little bit more. Entitled Aunt basically blocked both my mom and Nice Aunt on Facebook after this incident, and we had no contact with her for about 2.5 years. She eventually got in contact with my mom and sent her a massive apology through text and told her how she just wanted to be a family again. B-Hatch, you cut contact with us. All we did was enjoy the peace and quiet. Anyways, turns out she was moving houses, and since she barely has any friends or family that actually like her, she was using us to help her move, because
paying someone to help is too expensive when I have family to help me.
Also, if anyone was wondering about why my mom let her back in her life, Entitled Aunt was a pretty religious person, and my mom just believed that was why she was so against the idea of me being gay. Of course, neither of us believe that all religious people are like that. We have many Christian, Muslim, pagan, etc. friends, and they are all wonderful people. Needless to say, no one else had an issue with my cast. Some of the kids at school playfully teased me about it, but it wasn't malicious and they were just more excited to sign my cast. Breaking your arm in school apparently makes you pretty popular when you're 10. Anyways, that was a little story about my psycho aunt. Sorry if it's all over the place and not very well written. I'm hyped up on coffee and am attempting to write on my laptop with fake nails. I hope y'all are having a fabulous day, my little cherubs. Wow, okay, so I wrote this in my spare time before going to work, went to work, then home to sleep, and woke up to this. Thank you for all the kind comments. For anyone that's curious, I should probably clear up that yes, I am indeed gay. Shocker, heh. I am also a drag queen, but these have nothing to do with the colors I liked as a kid. Though Entitled Aunt seems to think that it's my mom's fault I'm attracted to men. I remember when I was a kid, there was this t-shirt that was really popular, at least in my area. It was was this pink t-shirt, this, baby pink t-shirt. I don't know if that's a color, but it said, "Tough guys wear pink." And I thought that was really cool because obviously, especially when I was a little kid, there was always that sort of stigma that only girls like pink or gay boys, but I don't know if I knew what gay was when I was that age. Anyways, looking back, you really learn to appreciate that shirt existing. I mean, it was a step in the right direction, not perfect because it's like, oh yeah, you're only wearing pink because it says tough guys wear it. But when you're a little kid, that's a good way to convince kids that it's okay to wear the colors you like. It doesn't mean anything about you, or at least anything bad. But now this sort of stuff is a lot less common nowadays, at least I think. But yeah, people are learning, people are being more accepting and more educated about what makes people gay and what being gay is. And it's not just a guy who likes purple on his cast. Oh, I mean, I guess in this case it is, but you get my point. This story is called "Hit in the Face for Having the Audacity to Ask a Parent to Control Their Child." I was talking to an old friend I haven't heard from in ages, and they brought up this story, so I thought I'd share it. I used to work at Dillard's in the children's department, so I saw my fair share of entitled behavior from our customers, but this incident happened to my coworker. A customer was browsing around with her 4 to 5-year-old son. He was running around, knocking things off racks, etc. The mother made no effort to control him until he crashed into her a couple of times. She told him to go sit in one of the chairs by the dressing rooms. The chairs were pretty nice and upholstered in a silk-like fabric. My coworker was removing garments left in the changing rooms, and as she passed by the little boy, she noticed he was pushing a small car, think Matchbox-style car, all over the back of the chair, and it was shredding the fabric. She spoke to the boy and asked him not to do that. He responded by blowing a raspberry at her and pushed the car with even more force. She went to the mother and said, "Your son is destroying the chair with his little car. Could you speak to him?" Which is way nicer than I would have put it. The mother stopped and stared at my coworker. They stood there, just looking at each other for what my coworker described as too long and very awkward. Finally, the mother asked, "So?" My coworker started saying, "Well, could you?" And before she could finish the sentence, the mother slapped her across the face with the hanger she was holding, so hard it broke the hanger. Now, I would have beaten the crap out of that woman right then and there. Job be damned. My coworker just turned around and went to find our manager. She first encountered an off-duty police officer who works security in the store and is a close friend of mine, and told him what happened. He went with her to the manager. The manager went over to the mother, listened to her rant, apologized to her for the misunderstanding, and gave her a 10% discount for her troubles. My coworker was so stunned she couldn't even speak. Even the cop was saying, "What the that just happened?" The cop turned to my coworker and asked if she wanted to press charges. Before she could answer, the manager interrupted her, saying that wouldn't be necessary. Meantime, all the other employees in the department are watching all this go down, and I had just walked back in for my break. I see my coworker has a huge welt across her face and is bleeding under her eye. My coworker told the cop she did in fact want to press charges. The manager told her she couldn't do that if she wanted to keep her job. She told him that was fine. She quit. The manager was still insistent that the mother not be troubled by all this. The cop said, "She could have put her eye out and I'm arresting her. If you don't like it, you can take it up with my commander." The entitled mother was still acting smug until she saw the cuffs. Then she started screaming the usual nonsense, "I'm gonna sue all of you, I'll have your badge, do you know who I am?" etc, etc. No one but the manager cared, and she still went to jail. All of the other employees and customers who were watching clapped as she was being let out of the store in cuffs. The manager started in on the employees about how to correctly deal with situations like what had happened. We all looked at each other, and without saying a word, we all clocked out and left. All of us. Good luck running the entire department by yourself. We hung around our injured coworker until she was done with the police report and then took her to lunch. She said she'd been planning to apply at a different store in the same mall anyway, but hadn't planned on quitting the way it happened and worried that Dillard's would give her a bad reference now. We convinced her to go to the other right then, injured face and all. She explained what happened to the manager there. She was hired on the spot and told her they don't put up with crap like that. If a customer hits you, no matter matter who they think they are, charges will be filed and will be permanently banned from the store. I spoke to my cop friend a few days later, and he said the crazy woman nearly drove him insane with her screaming and threats on the way to jail, which wasn't close. After she saw that wasn't working, she started with pleading and bribery. He said he didn't think he'd ever been so glad to hand someone off to booking. All this happened ages ago, and since that day, I've never stepped foot in a Dillard's. Screw them. Yeah, if you want to be a good manager, standing up for your employees when they're literally assaulted in the store is the better move over, rewarding that customer's behavior. And then to decline charges on behalf of your assaulted employee, come on, you're just asking for a freaking walkout like you got. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.